Hello and welcome. Hope you're doing all right. I'm doing all good. Been busy at work. So you see the light starting to fade, but this is really trying to get some videos in just because it goes even crazier in the lead up to Christmas for me. So yeah, we'll just have a little ponder around. There's been some more devastation in the garden, this time mainly from gale force winds. We had two bouts of them, so you could probably see that banana there is not looking great, and that will be mentioned again later, because I think about 3 videos ago, when they were sort of at their peak at the end of the growing season, I was really kind of gone back on my not wanting them to, sort of thinking, oh yeah, they do a really good job and they break it up and they act as a canopy and this, that and the other. And I'd gone round and I'd actually thought, all right, where that tetrapanax is, it could actually do with a set of bananas in there. However, I've done another turn on that and turning away from them, purely because look at that sort of the state of them, and I need something reliable. So moving on from that, little thing just to ponder in your mind as we're walking around is what you sort of think the most important aspect or view or facing of the garden is. And just to give you a few sort of inklings, I'm stood just outside our patio doors. The point of the bananas was to grow into each other, if you like, so the leaves touch almost where the washing line is there in the center and cover up those windows, and also cover up all the rest of it, because that's going to be a big waterfall. The bit that hasn't got the fence in the corner is going to be a really big waterfall, but I want it hidden from view as you walk out, so it's kind of like secluded. So effectively you see the rocks that are at the bottom of the washing line there in that sort of volcano shape. Really, that's all I want to be able to see from here. The rest of it I want hidden. And the thing is like the bananas for that 2 or 3 months of the year are perfect for it. They do it exactly what I wanted them to do. They're a showstopper, you know, everybody comments on them, how they look great and stuff like that. But then I want to use this garden all year round. It was one of my main things. I just like to come out into the garden and just sit here even when it's cold and wet and all this, that and the other. So it needs to be kind of a bit of structure there all year round, which the bananas I don't think I'm going to be reliably able to do. But we're in no particular rush. But yeah, so just moving forward, if you think like what's the most important aspect to this garden, is it, as I'm stood now walking out the patio doors and the view of the bananas, keeping that so you have to sort of sneak through and then you open up into this wondrous little clearing in the jungle with a massive rock waterfall in it, or is it maybe this here seat here, that's the full sun seat in the summer, so is the most important aspect, if you like, you know, sort of this sort of thing looking up that way, or is it the same sort of thing from over in that patio area where the bar stools are? That's going to be a morning coffee spot because the sun gets there in the morning, so is that the most important, looking back towards the house? Or my evening seat over there where it gets the sun last thing in the summer, when you're more likely to be drinking than in the morning, is that the most important one? So yeah, or is it from the kitchen window there looking out, you know, every day of the year? What would you prioritise on that? And when we work our way around, I'll let you know which one I think is the priority. But if we just have a little crack round and we'll sort of go from there. So here in Camellia Corner, the Hypulpis punctata still hasn't died off. It's supposed to be deciduous. I want to move that out and we'll go and have a look at it. But the little bamboo fern there in the pink pot, that is going in there, I think. So yeah, I really want to get it out there because I want to see what that erythrosaura, like the one that's coming out towards us at the bottom there, I want to see what that looks like in all its glory at that size. In here, a couple of odd things. Well, not odd particularly. The Nephrolopis, for my money, some of them have proper died, these black ones here, but then there wasn't that many green ones on them initially, so I'm wondering if a few of them have come back. It looks like maybe this one here was a bit discoloured at some point and has sort of bounced back, as it were. But yeah, either way, he doesn't look too bad, that one now. He looks a bit better than he did, and when it comes to it in the spring, obviously I'll just chop all the black ones off. So yeah, apart from that here, it's all looking okay. Camellias are looking good. They're just about to come into their own. This Nephrolopis is looking a little bit worse. But yeah, you know, I'm gonna just see, because they've only been in this year, so we'll give them a good year, two growing seasons, and see how they react and stuff like that, and go from there with them. There's the little bamboo fern down there that will be going in where the Hypulpis is. That'll be quite nice, and it's right next to the bamboo, so that makes sense. Star of the show alert is, you can probably see it there, the Lophosauria quadripinata. I haven't done anything with that, and it's fine, touch wood. And also the added thing of it, I tried to get it the other day but I couldn't see it, but when we had the gale force winds, all the fronds were up, and it was just a massive like look of silvery grey. It looked like a grey fern, if you know what I mean, because they were constantly up. But yeah, every time I come out to get a video of it, sorry about that, every time I come out to get a video of it, obviously the wind died off for that second, so yeah, I got fed up with that after about 2 or 3 tries. The wind has stripped these dead Nephrolopis fronds bare though, so that's not good, but again, we'll see how that one bounces back. Surprisingly, the bird of paradise is still alive and looking quite good actually. So, that was only just a little tester, but if he sort of stays around, I'm not particularly worried about him flowering, to be honest with you. I just like the fact that it's got big leaves on stalks. But it's actually coping better than the bananas, but I'm wondering if that's because the bananas are still, even though they're all bedraggled, it's still sort of above it, and in a month's time when there's no leaves on that thing because they've all been blown off, will it take the dig then? But yeah, the biggest surprise is the Lonicera, the giant honeysuckle here. It looks vibrant to my eye, a bit more vibrant, especially like this one here. Like, yeah, it's just got a real nice gloss to it, which is surprising to say the least. The only thing with them though is the ends obviously got burnt off, as we can see here, and can you see the sort of black working its way back down the stem? I'm not sure, because it's not sort of actively growing, I'm not sure whether I should leave that like that or whether I should nip the end of it. Yeah, if anyone's got any ideas with that, do let me know. I won't let you know how the cuttings are going. Well, you can probably see most of them up there right at the back in the pots, so that should tell you all you need to know about the cuttings. But we have hope, we do have hope for a couple of them. So yeah, it's been a lot milder. I think these were -4 last time. You can see since I've clicked it, it's not got down below 6, so we've been very wet, very windy, and very mild. So coming back, Canna's definitely not looking their best. And the thing is with this is that I did start this off just buying a few tropical plants. The Cannas and the bananas were almost the first plants I got, apart from ferns, and then the gardens evolved into what will be a kind of more Jurassic themed jungle rather than an exotic jungle, if that makes sense. And that gives me a good excuse to cull some of these more tropical ones, because if you were having a tropical garden, you'd want cannas in it, you'd definitely want bananas in it, etc. But because I'm slightly off that, I can, like, in my own mind, I can afford to get rid of them. I'm not that attached to keeping them, but I need something that's going to do the effect of the bananas at some point. So the hare's foot fern still going strong over there. As we come across here, we'll get to that one in a bit. Let's have a look at the middle bed. Yeah, the wind, they were sort of wet and soggy and drooping on the last video, as you've probably seen, and now the wind has dried them right out, apart from it's just rained about 20 minutes ago, so they've gone wet again. But yeah, you could see it was dry, so I got no plans to do anything with that, so we'll just leave that as it is and see what happens. But the Atrata bouncing out, one of the few that's viewable from the house that is. This Chilensis tomentosa, a fern that will take full sun, has actually gone, it was silver through the summer, but it's got a real nice sort of lush green now, and it actually shows up its sort of pinnae and that a little bit better. So yeah, nice little fern that. If you see one, grab one. The sword fern is doing really well, like really well. It's not grown as good as this, and I had one before this that died, and that tells me that it doesn't like sun, because it's growing really well in winter. You can see it's all broadened off, or maybe not, but just looking at the frond shape on that, it's not amazingly dissimilar to the Nephrolopis, but I'm in a bit of a catch-22 on it, because I could just say to myself, oh, if the Nephrolopis don't recover or that, I could just shove this in there, but of course it doesn't like full sun, and the beauty of the Nephrolopis is that they do. That's why they're all in full sun, so kind of it's just one of them little things that goes on in here. Otherwise, we've got the gingers, which are nearly dead. I'll just leave them. The Wallichiana's doing all right, and the Erythrosaur in the back there will come into its own in January. So for this bit over here, the wind has taken off 2 or 3 of the Tetrapanax leaves, but they're all still alive. They have gone a bit black and that, but again, it's one of these plants that, you know, I don't know whether it's not that it's not worth keeping, but is it worth the trouble of keeping it alive, if you see what I mean, if it's not going to give me a flush, real lush canopy all year round, because it's kind of in the banana category at the moment. Well, Emmy's doing all right there on the right, so happy with that. Monkey Puzzle and that's still doing okay. All the rest of them are doing okay. All the deciduous ferns at the back have died. They didn't really go there bronze. I think it's because they were under the Tetrapanax leaves, which have now fallen off, but that's the kind of colour they go there, which is a kind of nice reddy brown. So they are worth having, and I probably will keep them and dot them somewhere else. But in this sorry that wood wasn't stacked very well. In this section, I think I mentioned it a couple of videos ago, but basically my number one priority for here is to get the Clematis armandii in, which is going to go behind the Tetrapanax, climb up this fence here, and then across the big rock waterfall, which will be in that corner when I eventually get to it. So that's my priority, to get that thing in the ground, which means digging them up, which means doing it in spring. But in order, I need this all to be ready with the trellis running across the top, so at least it can climb up onto something. And in order to put the trellis on, I need to get the lights. I still haven't worked out what lights I want. Like I said, I'm either thinking a lantern one or a sort of what I'm calling like a laboratory one, which will make sense if I get them. But I'm kind of thinking what I might do is buy one of each, put one of each up on each side where they're going to go, and then that allows me to then finish the fence, finish the trellis, and then whichever one I decide, I can just take the other one out and all the wiring will be done behind, if you know what I mean, like the splitting of the main cable and that. So that's probably what I'll do with that, just so when it gets to March, April next year, I'm just ready to go with it, if you see what I mean, and just put the plants in the ground rather than mess around. Moving on round, some of this is looking really like lush and jumping out now, which is the Asplenium there on the bottom right, and the Blechnum chilense there, the fern that's sort of coming out towards us on the left. I'm going to get myself a few more of them Blechnum chilense. They look really good and they're really vibrant. Moving on, this all sort of looks the same. Scheffler is doing all right. Be interesting to see how that is after winter when the new flush comes out, because they all look really big and starting to get glossy now, which is what I've expected them to be. They've been a bit faded over the summer. You can probably see it's not looking good for this Cyathea couperia, which is buried between the two green ferns either side of it. I think when we looked at it last time, this frond here had snapped. The new crosier there at the dead in the centre now, which is just bent over. These had gone what looked grey but a dark brown, and you can see they've all browned off and started going in now. So my only hope on that one is, again, I'm just going to leave it, I'm not going to do anything. So my hope with that one is that at least the crown's okay, and then hopefully when it throws new fronds out next year, it will send some beast ones out, because it's not got any out already. But that's my theory. That's what I would do if I was a plant anyway, so we'll soon see what happens with that. In this corner, all very much the same, which is one of them. They're all looking pretty good. The cheese plant there, not loving life. It's time for a helicopter to go by. This Cyathea, which has got the coil around it. Again, I think when we looked at it, this crozier had bent over here, but you can see the ones that got touched with the frost are starting to brown off and that, so we'll see what happens with that come the new year, or spring I should say. The Cyathea is the Cyathea. Just take that in for a sec, because that looks quality. Need to get myself a couple more of them because they're just really useful. The Dixonia is doing okay. I've just left those leaves in there. I take it it'll be alright. I mean, where it lives, it must have wet leaves dropping it because it loves humid conditions, and they obviously feed from the top, so I take it it's gonna sort itself out on that, just not to let those wet leaves freeze. So yeah, this another Cyathea here, the Couperii. Again, it looks like it'll be a lot of hard work to keep the fronds on each year. I may have got away with it. I think it was the -4 that did it, so it could be one of them. Just keep the covers and rack them up, and they might be all right, but if it does go particularly cold, then they're not. But the main thing I'm worried about is the crown. So we'll see how that does. It's just decided to start throwing up that new crozier there, which is perfect for freezers in January to kill it off. Again, we will see what happens. So yeah, there's the other Nephrolopus. That one was already gone, but we'll see if it actually survives and reshoots, even though that is like really harsh there, weather wise. Gets all the wind, and is obviously up high and not covered by any microclimates or anything. Most of this is doing all right. The only thing that isn't doing all right here actually is my roof. It leaks like a sieve. I still need to get up and do some silicone in where I've put the bolts through it. The Jasminoides, Tracheospernum Jasminoides, is doing really well. It's starting to gloss up, and I think it might be this side, but the leaves to my eye look a bit better. And that's that. So just a couple of last things. So thinking about the views and the most important aspect, the actual most important aspect in this garden is that one there. And the reason for that is because that's my office in there, which I've built over the last sort of 6 months. My seat is directly there, and that is my view out the window. Is that basically? So I need to get that looking good. One thing I have done is taken out the water butt, as you can see there. Ignore the kids' blackboard, but it's definitely opened up the space a bit. And if I come all the way back here, you probably won't appreciate it too much as I will, but it's lengthened the garden right out. So I've got a few ideas for around here, because it's a natural little look, but it is full shade, and this area here up to this joist coming across is going to have a polycarbonate roof on it when I get to it. Yeah, so I'm basically thinking to myself, if I build something similar to that there, just out of some blocks, it's going to be covered by a roof. It's quite close to the house. It's shady. I might be able to fill my tree fern needs in here, if you know what I mean. If I built out a flower bed at the back there, once I've finished bringing all the materials in, and I get rid of that gate and put it back to a fence. But I could build another one of there and shove some tree ferns in there. That will liven up my aspect from the garage, from the office looking out. And also it'll be under a cover to protect them from the harshest of the frost. I'll still obviously put straw in them and all that. And if I built it as a little nook, you could almost get a table and chairs where that chair is, if you see what I mean, and then you can come out, it'll get the evening sun, and you'll be covered by tree ferns above you and to the side of you, and loads of joyous things like that. And then going on from that, they have got some cheap square hot tubs in B&Q, the inflatable ones. So I'm thinking, if I built it to that sort of size, I could actually run the sort of flower beds around it in a sort of U shape, or an N shape from our point of view, get a table of chairs in it, and then if I buy one of these hot tubs, I can just blow up the hot tub inside it. And when it comes to summer, although I'd probably use it more in winter, to be fair, and have a little hot tub in there. That would be really nice. So what I'm going to do with this actually is I've got rid of the water butt there, you can see it, so I can tidy up that. I'll just put the drain pipe back to normal instead of having that hopper on it, because I don't need the hopper. And then yeah, just that sort of done. Then I can do the other part of the trellis and get all this done. I'm aiming to do it in Christmas week, finish the pergola off. So we'll see what happens. So yeah, that's about me really. Shame all the Cyathea fronds have died, but it is what it is. There's no point in, you know, what I've tried to do is do best case scenario. Usually I work it the other way around, but obviously there's ferns and stuff that will survive that I can get in there which will mimic it. Like, so for example, this Cyathea here, where I want it to be that medium to high height eventually, if it's gonna not work out and I need to keep mollycoddling it, then I'll just put like a 4 or 5 foot Dixonia in there, if that makes sense. And stuff like that. So yeah, really next thing for me is to get the pergola done, finish off the trellis behind the bamboo, which I've been on about for about 5 months, and sort the lights out, and yeah, we will go from there. So anyway, hope everyone's having a good time. I will see you on the next one. Let's just go have a quick look at that Lophosaurus, because he is an absolute beauty. Yeah, just look at it. Lovely. If that thing sizes up next year, it's going to be an absolute beaut. Right, anyway, until next time. Thanks for watching.